Is the last day in ordinary time. Tomorrow, the Lenten season commences. The Lenten season begins. Ash Wednesday, like Good Friday, is a day of fasting and abstinence. Just to remind ourselves about the significance of the occasion that we will commemorate tomorrow, the beginning of the 40 days of Lent. My dear brothers and sisters, I remember St. Augustine who said, "Where your pleasure is, there is your treasure. Where your treasure is, there is your heart. And where your heart is, there is your happiness." Many people are saying that treasure has a special connection to the heart, because the heart is the place of desire. The heart is the place of longing. The heart is the place of will and focus. The thing we most set our heart on, that is our highest pleasure or treasure. Or treasure is what the heart always desires, or what the heart considers most important. I'd like to connect the gospel reading today to the gospel reading yesterday, the story of the rich young man, or known as the gospel of the great refusal. Why do we call it the gospel of the great refusal? Because at the end of the conversation between the Lord and the rich young man left away sad and forlorn, and he could not accept the terms of Jesus as far as discipleship is concerned. There was something more important in the heart of the rich young man, something more valuable than discipleship, something more important than material wealth. So the gospel yesterday about the rich young man invites us also to continue examining our heart and finding out what to us is the most important. The gospel reading yesterday is the story of a call, the story of a vocation gone kaput. It teaches us a lesson on radical discipleship, on absolute detachment, on generosity with oneself, on making a lifetime commitment. It gives us a warning about the danger of riches and other worldly and unhealthy and inordinate attachments. The gospel yesterday gives us an idea about the real and lasting treasures. It was the story of the rich young man, and that gospel episode is also known as the gospel of the great refusal, because the main character, the rich young man, said no to Jesus. He went away sad, with a heavy heart and forlorn, even after a rare moment of encounter with the Lord. And let's go to the gospel today. After listening to the story of the rich young man, it is now Peter's turn to talk to Jesus and said, "Lord, what about us?" The rich young man said no to you. What about us? We left everything, practically everything, and we are left with nothing. What can we get out of following you? I'd like our seminarians to think about this. What can you get out of entering the seminary? What can you get out if you consider the idea of someday becoming a priest and a missionary? But this question, like, what can I get out of it? It connotes a transactional relationship with God, and that is not correct. Our relationship with God should not be transactional. You know what is transactional? I give you something, you give me something in return. I offer you something and I should get back something in return. Our relationship with God should be freely. It should be generously. It cannot be characterized by a transactional relationship. So we ask ourselves, what is the best investment you can make with your life? The gospel today offers a paradox. We lose what we keep, and we gain what we give away. When we lose our lives for Christ, we gain a priceless treasure. Whatever we give to God comes back to us 100-fold. And I'd like to leave you, including our seminarians, one single word for our reflection today. I'd like you to think about and to reflect about the word generosity. Generosity. How generous are you? Generosity flows from a heart full of gratitude for the abundant mercy and grace that God grants. I was talking to a religious of more than 50 years, and I asked him one question, and I said, what is your secret for persevering? What is your secret for persisting in your vocation? And that religious said to me, Father, one thing, generosity. Be generous with yourself. Generosity. Think about it. How generous are you with your life? How generous are you with your gift? The first will be the last will be the first. We lose what we keep, and we gain what we give away.